Today I'm going to tie up a jig-style fly. I'm going to use a Tiemco 413J for jig, size 8. This is 60-degree jig hook. I'm using a slotted bead, 4.6 millimeters, so a big stone in front. This fly, because it is tied, it's a jig-style hook, it has a great up and down action with the weight very much so to the front of the fly. And as it comes up and down in the water column, it's going to be like this. It has great action. So I am going to take this now. I put a little thread base back here. I take and trim that off. And where I want my thread base to go, I want it to be just about even with the barb of the hook. Give that a couple more right there. As you can see, that's just about perfect. I'm going to take 2 plumes of Marabou. And these are just your standard strung Marabou. And I'm going to take these two and I'm going to match them up. And the reason why I'm doing this, I'm using 2 different colors. I get a 2-tone tail that way. And I like that. I like that look. It just gives it a little bit of a variation from one angle to the other. I think the fish like it, and I like it. I'll do a pin trap up and over on there. Pull that down nice and tight. Give it about 4 more good secure wraps. Now that looks great. I'm going to take and trim off my material. I'm going to trim it so I get kind of an angle on there because I want this taper down nicely. I'm going to put material over the top of this. I'm going to use some straggle string. Come on. Some straggle string in ice straggle chenille. That's what I'm using. And I'm going to put that right over the top of this. I really like this material because it gives me the illusion of volume without any weight. And I really like that. It's okay if these fibers stick up in the air. We're going to cover those up. So right here, I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on here just to keep everybody happy and hold everybody together. Quick cure. And I'm using a rotary vise today. So this is going to allow me to advance up the hook shank precisely and very quickly. I'm going to proceed till I get right up behind that bead head. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a gap because I'm going to put additional material in there. I'm going to wrap that forward. Then I'm going to take one more time, go over the top, and do it again. Now I'm going to cut that material off. I put my finger in between my bobbin and the material I'm cutting. I don't cut my main thread. Now I took 2 materials here for the dubbing, and I used a semi-seal and I used a Chenille laser dub. Chenille laser dub has a little bit of flashing, a little more than the semi-seal does, and I combined them. And all I did is I rolled them together like this, and I just pull them apart. Do it a couple more times. It'll mix the material together very nice, and it gets them all consistently about the same length, and I like that. So I'm going to set my material down, and I'm going to take first, while I'm right here, I'm going to tie in a pair of rubber legs. These are Sili legs. These are Sili legs in a Sili leg nymphs in an amber barred. I'm going to take this. This fly you can tie in any color combination you want. It lends itself to a true leech colors with black, purple. This is a great steelhead. This hook is a nice strong hook. Lends itself great hook for steelhead, this pattern does. I like hooks that ride hook side up. The reason for that is I think you get a much better hook set. I do. That's just my personal opinion. I'm going to make a dubbing loop here. Go over that twice so it locks the dubbing loop down. I'm going to use my Spaco dubbing spinner, which I really like. And the reason I like that so much is because it is so quick that there's no loss of tension in your dubbing loop. It starts and it grabs the materials immediately, and they don't have the chance to move around or slip out. Now, with your dubbing loop, you can take your finger and press your finger up against the material. Let's just say you want to tease some of this out or over. You could just push it. It won't go anywhere. It holds it right there, and you can adjust your material however you want it. All right, let's spin this up. I'm going to give it just a little bit when it's right here. Give it a little bit more. Okay. Now we're going to go in and really pick this material out. I got a little gap kind of right there in the middle. That's okay. You won't see it once we start wrapping. Take my material. I want to tease everything back one direction, and that helps it to lay down on the hook shank. You don't have the materials fighting each other because we're all going the same direction. So you can wrap it in there much more consistently. I'm going to take that, and I'm right up against the back of that eye, or pardon me, the back of the bead head. I'm going to pull that right around there. It just pops right down underneath that bead head. I'm going to take my material. Oops, stay there. Take my material, and I'm going to stick, here's the bobbin. I'm going to stick my finger in between the dubbing loop material and the bobbin thread. I'm going to cut that loose. That way I don't cut them both at the same time. Give it a couple more quick wraps. I'm going to whip finish this. Now we'll take that. Always take your materials. They're all locked in there, so they aren't going to go anywhere. You can get them all pointing the right direction here, the way you want them. Then come back. Got one long one. There we go. There's your fly. Got a nice halo effect. I like that. You can see through it. Like that a lot. Gives it the illusion of movement. Two-tone on the tail. Illusion of movement. And when this is moving through the water, if you're stripping it, it will go up and down with the bead head being as large as it is, gets it to on a vertical. Great fly, easy tie, really good looking.